There's been, data issues, things that we all face as entrepreneurs, but thankfully we are on. Today we're going to be talking with an amazing fashion designer, Kojay Kelvin, and he's going to be talking to us about adapting. Kojay, and I'm going to wait for you guys to get in here as you're not here just yet. Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining. I'm going to say what I said before since there's now somebody here. Thank you for joining Smartpreneur. Sorry our live is a little bit late today. There were some data issues, but thank God we are online. So today we're talking to a fashion designer, the brains behind Kojay Originals, and we're going to be talking about adapting to change as a way of growing your business. So let me see if Kojay's here so I can add him. Hi Kojay, you're here. Okay, I'm going to add you. Waiting for Kojay to join us.
Hello. Hello, Tony.
Hi Kojay, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Fine. Sorry we're a bit late. It was my fault. I had some data issues just as I was trying to go on, and then it said I had 50 MB. I was like, that's not going to work. Charging, blah, 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 blah. But nice to see you. I can see you're at your store.
Yes, I'm currently at the store. I'm at work.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. How's your day been?
Not bad at all. So let me go through your bio because I know that we have some people who are already in here. I'm sure more will join us as we continue. So you are Oriyemi Joseph Adedoyin, also known as Kojay of Kojay Originals. You're a 27-year-old Nigerian designer and the chief creative officer of the Lagos Atlanta Men's Fashion House. You are a true creative who's been interested in fashion from childhood, and you did your first design in 2012 in your hostel.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I want to know more about that. At the University of Lagos, where you studied accounting. Accounting and fashion are two very different things. So I want to talk about how you made the jump from accounting to fashion. So in November of 2019, you joined two American partners and opened up the brand's flagship studio in Lekki. And you are currently going to expand your reach to Atlanta, the US, where your two business partners are based. Fantastic. So and you're also a stylist as well. So you really have a lot going on. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Kojay Originals first. How did you get the sort of passion for fashion, and how were you able to successfully transition from what you studied, which is accounting, to being a menswear fashion designer today and a stylist as well?
Okay, so thank you once again for having me, and I'm so honored to be here. Just going right into it, for me, fashion has always been an inbuilt thing for me. It's always been there. Growing up as a child, I kind of had like early influences in fashion from my dad. That's always been my first point of, influence regarding fashion, because my dad was a very picky person. He was very stylish. He always knew what he wanted to wear. So that was, for me, was an early childhood impact. And then as a creative, growing up, I always had the flair for fashion where, I was a very introverted person. I'm still very introverted, but I would always play around pieces and then find, joy in mixing, combining colors, and it just kind of grew from there. And I just started, expanding and, going on with the skill. I also love numbers. Growing up as a child, I loved to play with numbers, and that was what made me, go into accounting. Because then you know that your parents want you to do something professional. They want you to go to the whole thing. So that was more like just me giving back to my family. Okay, let me do this, and then afterwards, I kind of follow my passion and where I saw myself at that time.
Okay, fantastic. Very interesting. So how did you now team up with your business partners who are in Atlanta to start your business and to grow it to where it is today?
So I've kind of been doing this on my own for a while since I graduated from school. And
Mhm.
in 2018, I made contact with my current partner, who was looking to do business then in Nigeria. And it was just more about positioning yourself at the right time for the opportunities that came. And we kind of went through the process for a year, kind of going through talks and what's the technicality and how everything is going to be and what's going to be the overview of the brand. And in 2019, we made a decision to go and open a flagship store and then start creating the Atlanta-based location. I have two amazing partners, and I'm sure they're alive now. And yeah, so it was that transitioning from having to be an individual and trying to do everything yourself to getting people who have similar perspective and similar mindsets and just go with that. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. And how were you able to sort of ensure that, because a lot of people are actually afraid to have business partners because they feel like, oh, let this person not come and take my business, let this person not screw me over, things like that. So how were you able to structure the agreement with your business partners, in a way that you felt comfortable that, your business was secure, but obviously they still have a stake in it as well? Like, was there any like
Okay, thank you.
legal? Did you have
Oh,
contracts and things like that? Yeah.
definitely. Definitely. So, during the 1 year process, we kind of did all the background check and had a fundamental, conversation that was real. We knew where we were at that point in time. I knew that I couldn't do this. So for me, it's all about perspective. Yeah. If I would love to be, making all the money and doing everything myself, but you really can't do. If you want to be a creative, you want to kind of concentrate solely on the creative part. And yes, we got a lawyer involved. We did the papers and everything, but trust, most importantly, over that 1 year period, we understood that we could trust each other. We could do business. So, you have to show some personal skills for people to want to do business with you. You have to be able to show that, I'm trustworthy and I will willing to give you everything you need 100%. And that kind of just kind of flew from there. Trust me, it was a 1 year thorough process from legal to, the papers to partnership and how we wanted the business to look was
Okay.
all we put in perspective. So it wasn't like a rush thing. It was in due process. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, interesting. I think it's good for people to understand how partnerships work because oftentimes, it's something that can work very well, but it has to have the right parameters in place. So I'm really happy that you explained how you were able to successfully have a partnership with partners that are out of the country. So let's move on to talking about this period now. COVID period. Right now, restrictions are being eased, which is nice. But the past few months have been very difficult for a lot of entrepreneurs, not really knowing, what the future holds for their businesses, having to juggle a slowdown in spending. How have you been able to sort of weather that storm? Because I know that you have a physical store. I don't know if you have an e-commerce aspect of it as well. But how have you been able to ride out this sort of COVID situation?
So first of all, COVID came to us as a kind of surprise. I don't think we were never ready for COVID, truly to say.
Yeah.
But I feel like going into the process personally as a creative was quite difficult for me because it was like, okay, everything was just like a pause, right? And we all had to figure out together where we were moving to and where we're going to. So that whole lockdown, 3 months, it was a little bit difficult. Not a little bit, it was actually difficult because I had to go through a process, as a person and as a creative, because everyone is looking to you, okay, what's going to happen next? And being the face of the brand, being the face people kind of kept that pressure on what was going to happen next. So it was really difficult. But as a business, we kind of, took it as it came. And we took it one step at a time, not trying to figure it out too much. Okay, what are we going to do? And not putting all that pressure on yourself. So we all knew that, myself and the partners and people who work for us, we knew that this was a phase that we're going to go through together and come out together stronger. Yeah, some financial decisions had to be made. We had to cut 1 or 2 things and move e-commerce because at that point, before COVID, yes, we had an online presence, but we never really kind of focused on the online e-commerce thing. But during the COVID, we started to look at alternative ways in which we can bring in sales, in which we can make things more accessible to people and not just from a flagship store situation.
Interesting. Okay, and I like the way you talked about, accessibility and the fact that COVID has sort of forced you to rethink your business model in a way, perhaps taking it more digital and things like that. So I want to talk about menswear now. The fashion industry is known to be very cutthroat, very competitive,
Yep.
and there's a lot of players in that industry. So I want to know how you stand out, how your what your brand positioning is in terms of, getting customers. I've been on your page. I know you personally, but I've been on your page as well. And I love your designs. I love the way you show off your designs, but do you have like an intentional strategy for the way that you are positioning your business?
Yeah. So, like I said, we kind of had to take a step back and figure out, okay, what's the next thing to do? We need to familiarize ourselves with the environment and what's currently happening, because no one had like a solution. No one knew what the ropes were during COVID. So we all brought in our personal, suggestions and advices, and we kind of worked together from that. For the online platform, I think knowing what suits your market and what suits your need and the niche you're creating for yourself, we obviously had to do a lot of restructure in terms of online and e-commerce. We had to do that. We had to kind of figure out what people wanted to wear and how people were feeling at that time. It was a conscious effort to understand what people were going through in their minds, because before people want to buy things, before people want to patronize you as a business, you need to put yourself in that situation. And I think that's what, we made it easier. During the lockdown, we had a lot of virtual consultation. We moved most of our businesses online. We made sure that things were, accessible to people, and a lot of people were not as strict as a lot of brands. We're very, catchy, more of an easy breezy kind of thing. So that kind of more people, and then people, surprisingly, people started to make, oh, you know what? Even though I'm not ready to buy now, that kind of thing. I just want to make inquiries, and that was, what associated us with our customers, and grew from there.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. I love that. And I want to talk about the role of social media. Someone said, "Fine boy, Koje, you have fans in the comment section."
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, thank you.
I want to talk about social media because I think it's, we are sort of in the time of social media now. There's so much going on, even like right now with the justice campaigns that are trending, say no to rape in light of all the really awful atrocities that have been happening, both at home here in Nigeria and abroad in the US. People are fed up, people are tired, but I found it really amazing how, social media has amplified the voices of, people affected, even in terms of, what happened in the US with George Floyd. The footage was really what moved a lot of people. The fact that we could see, an officer standing on someone's neck, it was inhumane. It was just totally diabolical and terrible. But social media, has that is the sort of magic of social media. The fact that wherever you are, you can communicate, you can get a message across, you can show different things. So how has social media been helpful in your business to you? And I really want to be very specific, because I think when we talk about social media, there's so many aspects to it. There's obviously things like, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, but there's also email marketing. There's so much with the online marketing, SEO, Google Ads. There's so much going on.
There's a lot of Facebook.
Facebook. I always forget Facebook, and Facebook is such a powerful tool as well. Snapchat, all of them. I want to know, in terms of your experience, which ones have you utilized effectively, and which ones would you sort of advise others who are watching who have businesses to really sort of take seriously and try to use as often as possible to communicate effectively to their target markets?
Okay, so I'm gonna start off first with the whole issue with about speaking up, and I think every creative has a voice, right? We all have a voice. Everyone has a voice, but as a creative, you most of the time want to translate your voice into what you're doing in terms of if you're a designer, if you're an artist, if you're a music, whatever you're doing, you want to kind of translate that what you're saying from the inside outwardly. So I think as a brand, we are obviously very displeased with the way things are going, and we thank God for social media that has been a platform to bring that out. I'm a Black person, and and I would associate myself personally, with what is currently going on in the US. But social media has the power to make and break whatever it is. I'm going to give you an example.
Okay.
People are starting to speak out. This is COVID. Everyone is coming out from COVID, and the power of social media and Instagram, Facebook, Twitter is, once something is not the right way it needs to go, once something is not in the right direction, people kind of want to speak out, and that is a very powerful. That's freedom of speech, which everyone wants to have that freedom of speech to be able to say what's on their mind. Most of the times, people try to undermine other people's opinion, and I feel that social media is a tool that allows everyone to speak up. But be careful right there, because people have different opinions and people want to just bust out different things. As a creative, focusing your voice and your talent and skill in saying the right things, in passing across the right messages, is very, very important. As a fashion brand, we're doing our best. From our designs, we're working on a lot of things, campaigns to kind of create more publicity that it is wrong to do certain things, and speaking out from our inward voice.
Yes, I love the fact that you talked about awareness. And I just want to come on to talking about marketing and sales as a business. So do you find that a lot of people, in terms of the percentage of your customers, do more people make inquiries online, so via your social media, DM, comments, or do you get more people walking into your store? Did you hear the question?
I think, can you just run, is this pre-COVID or post-COVID?
Sorry. Oh yeah, that's true. People are not really walking in. I guess pre-COVID, did you find that it was more people walking in or more online inquiries? And then obviously, how has that changed since COVID?
Okay, so for us at Kojo Originals, pre-COVID, we had a lot of, we're a new brand. We're relatively new in terms of the flagship store, just about 6 months. And pre-COVID we had a plan. We had a 1-year plan. We had a 5-year plan. And things were sort of going, the way we expected, because, when you're opening a business in Nigeria, you want to kind of test the waters and see how, things play out. And for that first, few months, though, we had over about 500, database. We had 500 customers who were returning customers, and there were a lot of them were mostly walk-ins. We also had an online presence then, but it wasn't as what it used to be now. But post-COVID, we're trying to move most of our, productions, most of our, enterprises to the online market, because we guess that that's where the future is. That's what people are tending to lean towards now. Doesn't mean that the flagship store doesn't have its own working, customers, but that the online platform is more cheaper, it's more affordable than running a flagship store.
Okay, interesting. I love that. And I want to come on to finances now, because I think a lot of business owners, a lot of creatives, I feel, always want to have someone else to deal with the financial side, because they love doing the creative side. It's what they're passionate about, it's what they're interested in, and so that part flows easily. But the financial side, in terms of taking care of the books, the cash flow, everything else that goes into running a business, the money side isn't always as easy to merge for creatives. I found. Yeah. So how are you able to manage both of those sides, the creative and then the business, more financial side?
I think most importantly for business people, for entrepreneurs and creatives, it's always knowing where your power lies, right? And that is really what made me venture into partnership, because I know that I am more of a creative person. Luckily for me, I studied accounting, so I kind of have an idea of bookkeeping, and I have the technical know-how. But as a creative who doesn't have a background in finance, you want to read a lot of books. You want to know the basic things, your profit and loss, your production costs, your budgeting, and all of that. But we have to move to a level where we don't want to do everything. I feel like, as entrepreneurs, as creatives, we want to kind of be everywhere at every time. Yes, it's good to have an idea of all these things, but at the same time, you want to focus on where your talent is, where your skill is, and allow people that know how to run these things, run them. So I have, I used to be the creative director, I used to be the finance guy, I used to be everything. But moving into partnership with my partners, we, you just focus on this part while I do this. That gives you more time to be more creative and be in tune with yourself. So that's it.
I love that. Thank you. I think that's a great answer. And I think,
Thank you very much.
everyone doesn't have to do everything. You can, I mean, yes, you should have an idea generally, but I feel like, it's good to stick to your strengths if you're more of a creative, be more of a creative, and have someone who is really, really, really good at numbers, doing the numbers, as opposed to just half doing things that maybe are not your core competencies, core strengths. Although you did do accounting, so numbers may be more your core strengths than mine.
Yes. And I think, that's where trust comes in, because you want to hire somebody or you want to partner with somebody who you really trust, who, you can say, I'm giving this part of my business, or we're coming together to form a business so we know that this is what we're trying to achieve. You don't really want to give somebody, you don't want to partner with somebody who you don't trust to hold your money, because your money is the most important part of the business. So I think that's fundamental what it is.
Interesting. And we talked a lot about partnerships today. I want to talk about if you've ever partnered with another brand, and if you ever would partner with another brand. If so, what kind of brand would be complementary to what you're doing, do you think?
I think we've worked together. So for me, partnership is as little as posting pictures, as little as supporting your friends on Instagram or social media. It doesn't have to be a big kind of partnership, as the little things also matter. So, hey, I have a business I'm currently running, or I'm opening a second store, or I'm running a business. How can my friends and family not necessarily give money, but support? And that in its form, it's a partnership. I think people tend to look at things from a more ambiguous way than more of a little way. You want to start small. You want to start from knowing that, okay, I can do this myself first. I have the idea of what this is. And then when you kind of move, because I've been doing this for like 7 years from school, even though I took a break at intervals to do, corporate work, I always done this myself. And that kind of gave me, okay, this is the power you're lacking. This is what you need to get. Now, you need to look for somebody who can feel this, but having that general knowledge is very important. Is really important.
Okay, very, very interesting. And I think what's great about you is you do two things in the fashion industry. You've got your menswear brand, but you also do styling, right? And I think those are two kind of very different things, because I work with stylists a lot as a presenter, and I know that they're very patient, and they're very sort of a stylist is almost different from being a designer, in that it's not your creative vision, it's somebody else's. You're already presented with a blank canvas, right? Which is a person that you have to style, and they have their opinions on what looks good on them and what doesn't look good on them. So it's more of a collaborative effort, So I want to talk about how you are able to merge what you do as a menswear designer and a brand owner, and then the styling work that you do as well. How are you able to merge the two?
So I'm gonna kind of tie my background in styling to when I worked on TV, and like I said earlier, growing up, I'd always had the flair for mixing colors and mixing different things. My mom would want to go like, no, you need to pair this and you need to pair this, and it would always look good. So for me, it's always been there. And then the creating part was when I need to suss in depth to create things, it would always come out really nice and people would always love it. So I knew that I had two different skills. So I kind of developed one first, which was the styling. So immediately I finished school, I did a little bit of, internship here and there, fashion shows, and that exposed me to a lot of raw content. Because in a fashion show, you are literally last minute caring, even though you've done your mood board and everything looks okay, anything could change. Like the designer will come and say, I want to take this off and I want to put this, and you need to create the designer's vision. Right. So you work with the designer from inception, but you also need to put your own personal touch. And that for me was what I used most part of my, creative years to figure out, okay, how does this work? And when I did that, I kind of started to develop my designing, flair, which it's always been there, quite all right, but I kind of focused more on one and then the other and merge them together. So I would, struggle between being a stylist and being a designer. And at some point, I was like, let me focus more on this and get this skill and then move to the other one and then create both of them as a brand. So people know me as Koja the stylist. People know me as Koja the designer. So it's two different personalities. People don't know I want you to come style my clothes. I'm like, but I'm a designer. I'm like, you know what? I love your job as a stylist, and I want you on my product. So it was combining both, but also making both of them have an identity of its own, more so. Yeah.
Interesting. And I want to talk more about that because I feel like sometimes, when people see you in one way, they may not be able to see you in another way, I think, so how do you, because I mean, for me now, I'm a presenter, then sometimes I'm a business owner, and it's sometimes hard for people to see me as a business. I'm like, oh, it's Talila. I'm like, no, this is my business hats now. We're being business-like, you know what I mean? So how have you been? And so maybe there's someone who you work with as a stylist who, you want to approach more. Well, I guess they're sort of complementary industries anyway. But how do you manage to get people to see you in those two different ways and take you seriously in those two different ways?
So, like what I tell people most times, you need to build your skill, right? You might have talent, but you need to build your skills. So, from when you know that something does, and most of the time following your guts, really, I would most of the time argue with clients like, this isn't right. This is you contracted me to do this job, and you want the best for me. I've taken out time to build my skill. Now let me implement what I've learned, or the reason why you hired me for the job. So when people kind of verify that no, he's good at what he does, and they see the general picture and they appreciate the general picture, you get more credibility like that. You start to grow, you start to function, and then the referrals start to come. And the more jobs you do, the easier the job gets. Like right now, you could probably present with your eyes closed because you've been doing this over time. So it's when you do this over and over again, you're not getting accustomed to it, but getting sharpening your skills and just moving from that phase of knowing as what, this is only one thing I can do, but that's just like branching out to different things. And I think also it's all about, people need to understand about paying their dues. You need to pay your dues in everything. You need to be able to take out time to learn. You have a skill, but you want to understand the business of fashion. And there's a business of fashion and there is the art of fashion. You want to take out time to understand these two distinct parts and how to run, both of them simultaneously.
Fantastic. I love that. I love the fact that you said take out time to learn, because I think sometimes today everything is so like instant. People just think things just happen instantly. Once you maybe watch a few YouTube videos, oh yeah, you're good to go. And I get the fact that I agree with you in that I do believe that you have to pay your dues. It takes time to learn, and that time is definitely worthwhile. Investing it is worthwhile, basically. So it's important to do that. Thank you for highlighting that. So I also want to talk about international markets. Your partners are in Atlanta. So do you retail in Atlanta as well in the US? And if so, how does that work? Do you charge in dollars? Do you charge in naira? So I know some Nigerian designers who actually charge both their Nigerian and their international clients in dollars, just because I guess it works out better for them. So is that something that you do? And also, how do you sort of create designs that will appeal to an international market?
So from the inception of the partnership, we kind of knew the direction we wanted to go to, which is more of creating a market where every African man of any descent could shop amazing pieces. Now, most of the times people try to put the two together. Being an African designer doesn't necessarily mean you only have to do African pieces.
Yeah.
We need to step out of that. We need to understand that I can be an African designer of African heritage, but I want to do high-end Western, like you said, catchy pieces, and just kind of understanding where this, how people process things. For the international market, it's a little bit tricky because I haven't done this. I hadn't done that before. And I took advices from the people who have done this over time and, kind of ran with that. So if my partners tell me, this is how we need to market this product in an American market, I 95% of the time go with their advice because that's the market that they understand. And we're trying to blend both markets together to create, a goal or a solution. So I took advices and I also did a lot of research on, how these people, the first thing you look at a design is, when you look at a design, you look at how the design relates to you. And creating pieces, I always put that at the back of my mind. Okay, how do I want to create pieces that would cut across both markets? And over time, it was something I got used to, and I started creating pieces. At times, you would create a piece and it would appeal to both markets. At times, you would create a piece that would relate more with one market than the other. So it's always knowing your target market. And for in terms of charging and other things, it's simple. Like once you know how much an item costs, people tend to think you want to charge, overseas, the customers abroad more. I more of reckon that you just have like, a fixed price. For me, it's knowing the value in which you bring to the table. You don't want to incur more costs because of the shipping and everything, but you want to just have like a fixed price that cuts across, you can have different products with different pricing, but let it be a fixed price. Let it not be customer A is asking and you're giving him $10, and then customer B is actually you're giving him $100. It doesn't create credibility for your brand. You want to create pieces that would cut across both markets, but make it fixed. That's what I'm going to say. Yeah.
Okay, so would you? So yeah, the reason I asked you the question about charging in dollars in Nigeria is because with the fluctuation of the exchange rate, some people have started doing that just to limit their exposure, I guess, to limit their loss. Sorry. So, what is that something that you would consider doing, charging your clients here in dollars, or do you think it's not really very that Naira just charging Naira and just keep it like that?
I think in Nigeria, if a customer walks in and you tell him a piece is $150, working into the store. Now, if we have a website, our website is currently being created, and on the website, at that point, we would then decide if we want to put the prices in dollars and in Naira. Now, that's going to take a conscious effort. But I feel for the online market, if we're chatting or we're engaging with a customer, we know the location in which you are, or we find out this information and then we give you the price that suits where you are. If you're in Nigeria, we give Nigerian, yes, where you are, because we have a finance department that works both ways and that can credit or that can verify whatever payment is being done. We have a unified platform. So once that is sorted out, you make the payment depending on where you are or what's best convenient to you. We're good to go.
Fantastic. Thank you for clearing that up. I just think it's a very interesting time we are living in, and people have to adapt to for their businesses to survive and to thrive. So I think it's interesting. So at this point, I wanted to say to everyone who's watching, thank you so much for staying with us. If you have any questions, please do either type them out or put them in the question box, and I will ask Kojay your questions. But yeah, please do listen. We have about another 25 minutes to go.
Okay.
So do drop your questions if you have any. If not, I have a ton of questions. So I'm just going to keep asking my own questions. That's fine. But if you do have anything,
you to answer your questions.
Yeah, we're here. Well, I'm not. Kojay's here, but I'm here to put them to him. All right. So I want to talk about structure now. How important is structure in your business? Because you hear a lot of people saying, I have to have my business structured in a certain way in order to make sure, even if I travel, I'm out of town, or I'm not able to maybe go into the store every day or look over the website every day, proper structures are in place so, the business can actually run without its founder, CEO. What is your take on that, and how have you been able to implement structure in your business so far to ensure that whether you're available or not, it's still able to keep on an even footing?
So personally, like I said, I have an overview of what the business looks like. I have an overview of what I want and what my partners want. We are a relatively small business. We're just starting, like I said, 6 months, and we have about 5 employees on the team. But before we bring anybody on the team, we have like a 2-week trial. Okay, how would this person perform? And I want to see, I give you an opportunity, or we give an opportunity to perform without, we put you through the main things, we put you through the, through the basics. Okay, this is what you need to do, but I want to see you perform. I want to see how you perform without supervision. And I feel like after a while, if this aligns with your vision, if this aligns with, what you want to see or how you want to run the business. Now, two things. If the person is willing to learn, or if you are willing to put that structure in place and take out the time to go through that process, all well and good, go for it. But if you want to kind of like just go through, get it done, and just get somebody who can handle it, that's also a way. But one thing entrepreneurs need to understand: you can't do it alone. You can't do it by yourself. You need like-minded people to bring your
Coach Jay's frozen.
Your conception.
Coach Jay, you with us?
Oh, yeah, I am.
Oh, saying poor connection. I think it's just network. Coach Jay, are you with us?
Oh, okay. I can hear you guys. Hello.
Oh, I think Coach Network has gone. No.
Hello.
Okay,
I'm
you're back. Sorry, the network was doing the spinning thing, but it's back.
Yeah. That's a huge problem in Nigeria.
Coach Jay, should I remove and then add you again?
Yes, I think that works.
I think it's just networking. It's going to settle in a minute. Let's just give it a minute. If it doesn't, I'm going to remove Coach Jay and add him back. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Hi,
you.
Coach Jay, can you hear me?
Hello, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think it's your network.
Oh,
it's going in and out. But it's totally paused now.
Just call me back.
Oh, no, it's working now.
It's working now.
It's working now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, good, great.
Right. Sorry, I missed the last thing that you said. I think we all missed the last thing that you said.
So I was saying, about structure. Structure is a continuous thing, right? It's something you always have to, you always.
Oh, I think I have to call you.
You always want to. Okay. Hello. Okay, I think we're good. It's just, yeah, we're good. Perfect. So structure is something that every business needs to have. You need to take out, a time to kind of put structure in place. If your business doesn't have a structure, then you're limited, and it's even though you're an entrepreneur and you're doing this as a sole, person, you want to kind of have like structures in which you put in place, and that keeps you in checks and balances. Like, okay, how do I move from point A to point B? It's not just moving as the wind blows you, because what happens is that when you're not able to fill that position, who can take up that challenge? You don't want to have a break in business because you're unavailable or you're down or something. You want to give people the opportunity to fill in positions and carry people along. Structure is very vital in every form of business. You have to have a way that how do I put this now? The way you plan things. So structure can be achieved with planning. How do you plan things? Even though you're doing this alone, you don't have to think about 10 people or hiring 100 people. As as a person, as an entrepreneur, how do I run my business? And that is structure. It's more like planning, more or less.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So interesting. And there's people out there watching who are going to watch our replay who want to get into the industry you're in, the fashion industry, the menswear industry. So I want to ask, when you first started out, what advice do you wish you had been given that you knew that would have helped you sort of accelerate your growth? And what are the sorts of startup funds do you think someone should have when they're starting up? Like in terms of, for the fabric, for the tailors, for all the startup expenses that, are going to be incurred, what general amount, you can even give a range between maybe X amount and X amount, would you say would be good to have in your back pocket when you're starting a fashion business?
So I just want to apologize firstly. The power is out at the store. We have it, and that's one of the things with COVID. So we lose the power by 6.
That's okay. Don't worry. The light is always going off in the middle of all my Instagram lives here, so it's fine.
Yeah.
I understand.
Okay, so I'll just take a question. When you're starting as a brand, you have to have a vision, or as a business, you have to have a vision. Okay, where do I want to be? And this vision can be as little as saying, every day I want to check myself and I want to do this. I want to do things differently. And the moment you do that, that's some form of value. You're giving yourself some form of value. The actual amount you need to start a business is just your first client. I tell people this every time. You need just the first client to start your business, in any kind of business, in art, in as long as you're engaging with customers, you need just one customer, and that one customer can be valued at anything. But you want to take some things into consideration. You want to take, your consumer customer relationship. You want to take, the fact that, okay, those things cannot be monetized. They don't have a monetary value, but you want to kind of position the value on them and say, you know what, every time I miss a customer, or every time I upset a customer, what is the value that I'm losing, and how much am I losing from that customer? And the moment you start to do that, you start to tend to know that, okay, everything is it has a value. But tailors, fabrics, do your research. Do your research. Get people that have been in the industry for a while, and get their feedbacks. Okay, you know what? You're in a business that deals with engaging people. You want to get people who have done this in the past. How do they understand the fabric? How do they relate with tailors? It's all glam and fashion, up front at the scene and at the front scene, but behind the glamour, there's a lot of work. Relating with tailors, you have to put them. We're in Nigeria. We're a company that's currently based in Nigeria that's supplying to other parts of the world, and most of our employees are Nigerians, and we all know that Nigerians have a habit of certain ethics. So it's all those things. Do you have a cushion? Do you have if someone tells you I'm not coming to work today, what's your other plan? Those things are the things you need to research. You need to do your due diligence to find and make plans, so that you do not take on something and then get stuck along the way.
Fantastic. So interesting. Yeah. Koje, I feel like I'm learning, and I've learned so much from you. I want to make another call for questions now.
Thank you so much.
The questions box keeps popping up. If you guys do have any questions, please do write them below so we can I can post them to Koje on behalf of the Smartpreneur team. If not, I just want to round up on some of the things that you've touched on, which have really impacted me. You talked about your partnership with your partners in the US, and having contracts and having the paperwork in place to make sure both parties are equally happy with the partnership. I thought it was interesting. I loved what you said, about social media as well, how it can be used for awareness, but it can also be used to amplify your brand message. And I'm trying to rack my head. I wish I had taken notes now to remember everything that you said, but I'm trying to remember.
You can definitely watch the video. Definitely,
yeah. Come to the top of my head. And I also just like the way that you talked about just now about your customer and putting your customer first, because I think that's also very important. I think, a lot of brands that we know, and a lot of big international brands from, Amazon to even the luxury brands, what we love about them isn't necessarily the product. The product is fantastic and it's very nice, but it's the service. With Amazon, if you have Amazon Prime, you're going to get your items within 1 day, and that 1 day means 1 day. It doesn't mean 3 days. It doesn't mean, sorry, it will be 2 days, not 1 day. There's no story. It's very reliable.
Yeah, I do understand that, and that's very important.
Yeah, and even with luxury brands, when you buy an item from a luxury brand, there's a certain quality promise that you're buying into, and even when you're in the store, the way that you're treated in the store, the way your item is packaged, the way you're greeted by the people who are wearing the uniforms of that brand, it just gives you confidence in what you're buying. So I think customer service is so important. It's one of the things that a lot of businesses and brands miss out on, and it actually, it's a shortcut to creating trust with your customer. So I don't know, that's just my little random customer service.
Just to elaborate on that, I'm just so when I spoke about trust, this doesn't have to do with just only in terms of money. You want to trust that you are able to go through a phase, right? Going into partnership with my partners is, okay, the way Americans deal with businesses, the way is totally different from the way we have an understanding of business. And that's really important. The way other people see business, like a customer would call you and probably the other is not ready, and you just like, I can still tell him that the other isn't ready. But knowing that you have reached a contract, you have not solved the problem where you made it where it's your point of duty too, and taking money or whatever form of agreement it has been, is saying, you know what, I can't do this. It's understanding to when to take, others, when to be engaged, when to, go into things. You don't want to take up things that you can't keep to. It's really important for people to know that, okay, you know what, when I put out my integrity on the line, my integrity is my integrity. When I'm saying that, this is what you're going to get at. So even though I can't match up to that time, I give you a notice ahead, not just the lackadaisical attitude that a lot of people have, towards doing business. Those are the things you can't put money on. Those are the things you can't put, it comes with a certain value. You want to have people who are returning customers, you have new customers. And for every successful business, it's what's the percentage of my returning customers? How many people walk in and walk out and then work in again? You want to put all those things into perspective, and that will help you, launch into, the next phase of your business.
I totally agree. I love how you said you can't put a price on certain things, and I think it's so true. Yeah. Certain things are prices and do help with your brand image as well. It's not always flashy advertising campaigns. Yeah. Sometimes it's like, I know when I order from Kojo Originals, if he tells me I'm going to get my garment on this day, I'm going to get it on that day. You know what I mean?
On that.
Yeah, it is very important. Well, Kojo, thank you so much. We haven't had any questions just yet. I think everyone's kind of just been listening and absorbing, soaking up all the amazing wisdom you've been giving us on this live. If there's anybody else on here, should I say, who wants to connect with you, come into your store, maybe chat with you about possible collaborations, how can they get in touch with you?
Okay, so post-COVID, we're kind of having a soft opening where we kind of have running hours, because we all know the government just lifted the ban from 6 p.m. from 8 p.m. now to 10 p.m.
10 p.m.
So
yes.
So we have working hours. We're reviewing the days, and we know that in the pre-COVID, you need to cut unnecessary costs, and that's where data comes in. When are people shopping? When are people willing to come to the store? Are people willing to make appointments? Every business needs to move to that level where, okay, if I'm not going to, if for Mondays I don't have, the inward store or the inward workings are not as high as a Thursday or a Saturday, how can I cut costs? Electricity costs, other kind of costs.
Yeah.
But right now it's all about embracing the technology that you have. Everyone is online. Everyone has a smartphone, right? And you make yourself obvious to people. You let people know that you have a presence. And I think majorly that's just it. Having to go and restructure, rebrand, and move to what the new normal is. We want to really embrace technology. We want to embrace, the things we have in front of us. And I know post-COVID is a very funny situation. So we're opening back, and people are gradually starting to come back to normal. But it can't be what it used to be, before this happened.
Yeah.
And people are more conscious of, where they are, how many people are there, social distancing and all of that. So, it's just important if you want to come, stop by the store. We're located at 8 Adeomi, but it's always important for people to know that post-COVID things can't be the same. We want to put all those things. We just recently fumigated the store. We had to take measures. We were doing social distancing, taking only 2 customers per time. Those are the things we need to do post-COVID, and move more of to the online market.
Fantastic. Well, Kojo, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I know everyone has really enjoyed this. I have gotten some good tips for my own business as well. Know how to navigate post-COVID and how to just keep business afloat and keep customers happy at the same time. Thanks so much. Your handle is at Kojo Originals, KOJEORIGINALS. So anyone who wants to connect can go over there, follow Kojo Originals, and then maybe send a DM if there's any other questions that you have that I haven't covered in this interview. Thank you so much, Kojo. Definitely be talking to you soon. And thank you to everyone who joined us on this live. It was really wonderful, so interesting. We'll be back on live on Thursday at 5 p.m. Bye.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Bye.
Thanks, Kojo. You too.